All right, welcome. A lot of people think pharmacy is just about memorizing endless lists of facts. But today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to tell a story, the incredible journey of a single drug from the moment it's created all the way to mission complete inside the human body.
And for all you pre-parents watching, our source material had this absolutely perfect piece of advice. So let's take it to heart. Leave the tension behind, really focus in, and let's start this journey together. Because this is the real key to mastering pharmacology. Not just knowing what a drug does, but understanding its entire life cycle. We're going to follow its path, and we'll ask some critical questions at each stage. And it all kicks off right at the starting gate.
First up, this starting gate. Now, this isn't just about making a drug. It's about packaging it for a very specific mission. I mean, how do you design a tiny pill so that it delivers its payload perfectly?
Right. Think about it. For many conditions, you don't want a huge, sudden blast of medicine. What you really need is a slow, steady, controlled release. So how in the world do scientists build a kind of timer into a tiny pill?
Well, the secret is all about controlling one specific thing, how fast the drug dissolves. If you can slow that down, you get a sustained release. And a really brilliant example of this is the OROS system. Just think of it like a tiny, high-tech water pump. It actually uses the body's own water to build up pressure that pushes the drug out through a little laser-drilled hole at a perfectly steady rate. It's amazing stuff.
But, not all drugs are meant to take the long way around. Some are actually designed with a very clever shortcut to bypass a major obstacle right at the very beginning of the journey. Any ideas which dosage form this might be?
It's the sublingual tablet, and here's why it's so smart. A normal oral tablet, like you see up top, has to go through the gut and then make a trip through the liver. Now, the liver acts like this heavy-duty filter, and it often destroys a big chunk of the drug before it even gets a chance to work. That's called first-pass metabolism. But a sublingual tablet, it just dissolves under the tongue and gets absorbed directly into the bloodstream, completely bypassing that liver filter. It's a fantastic shortcut.
So, the drug has been released. Now it faces its next big challenge, absorption. This is all about crossing the barrier from the outside world into the body's internal superhighway, the bloodstream. And this leads us to a really core concept, bioavailability, which is just a fancy way of asking what percentage of the drug actually makes it into your bloodstream to do its job. So, let's start with the most direct route. What's the bioavailability if you just inject the drug straight into a vein?
Yep, 100%. No question about it. When a drug is given intravenously, or IV, you get complete bioavailability. Every single molecule is in the system, ready to go to work. And this makes the IV route the ultimate benchmark. It's the gold standard that we compare every other delivery method against.
Okay, but for any drug that isn't given by IV, absorption gets a little trickier. A lot of it comes down to a fundamental rule called the pH partition hypothesis. The key idea here is this. Our cell membranes are kind of fatty, so only drugs that are also fat-loving can easily pass through. And a drug's chemical charge determines this. The uncharged, or unionized form can slip right through, while the charged form just gets bounced away. Success! The drug made it into the bloodstream and is now beginning its grand tour. But the body isn't just a passive highway system. Oh no. It immediately starts trying to break down this foreign substance. This process is called metabolism, and its main headquarters is the liver. And this usually happens in two main stages. In phase 1, the body's enzymes modify the drug. You can think of it like they're roughing it up a bit to expose a chemical handle. Then, in phase 2, a new molecule gets attached to that handle. That's called conjugation. This whole process makes the drug water-soluble, which basically tags it for removal by the kidneys. And here's a key pro tip from our source. There is no such thing as a phase 3 in drug metabolism. Don't fall for it. Now here's a really clever biological trick. What if you designed a drug that's actually inactive when you take it and only becomes active after it's been metabolized by the body? That's called a prodrug, and it's an absolutely ingenious way to solve all sorts of delivery problems.
The classic example is levodopa for Parkinson's disease. See, the brain needs more dopamine, but dopamine itself can't get past the brain's security system, the blood-brain barrier. So we give levodopa, which is kind of like dopamine in disguise. It slips right past the barrier, and then the brain's metabolism converts it into the active dopamine, right where it's needed most. Just brilliant.
So how long does the drug actually stick around? We measure that with its biological half-life. But this isn't some simple countdown timer. It's actually a dynamic balance between two big factors: how widely the drug spreads out in the body, that's its volume of distribution, and how fast the body's cleaning crew, the liver and kidneys, can get rid of it, and that's its clearance. Okay, so our drug has been delivered, it's been absorbed and distributed. It has survived its first encounter with metabolism, and it's finally arrived at its target. It is time for the whole point of this entire journey, the mission.
And that mission can be incredibly urgent. In a life-threatening emergency like status epilepticus, that's a seizure that just won't stop. Doctors need a drug that works right now. So what's the drug of choice for that critical mission?
The answer is IV diazepam, and it's chosen because it's fast-acting. But that's just one kind of mission, right? Drugs are specialists. You've got digoxin to help a failing heart pump stronger. You have naloxone, which is literally an antidote for an opioid overdose. You've got celecoxib to specifically target pain and inflammation, and even propranolol to help prevent migraines. Each one of these is like a highly trained agent on a very specific mission. A lot of these missions involve blocking enzymes. And here's a great way to think about it. A reversible inhibitor, like physostigmine, is like putting a key in a lock but not turning it. It blocks anyone else from using the lock, but you can still pull the key out later. An irreversible inhibitor, like an organophosphate, is like putting super glue on the key and breaking it off in the lock. That enzyme is permanently, totally out of commission. But here's an absolutely critical point. A drug can't just start this journey on its own. Before it ever reaches a single patient, it has to pass an incredibly tough series of tests, all governed by a strict rulebook, designed to prove one thing, that it's both safe and effective. That whole process is called clinical trials. Phase 1 is all about safety. Is this drug even tolerated in healthy humans? Phase 2 is the first big test. Does it actually work on patients? Phase 3 goes massive, confirming those results in thousands of people. And even after all that, Phase 4 keeps a close watch once the drug is on the market. In India, this entire gauntlet is governed by the guidelines known as Schedule Y. And that really brings our story full circle, doesn't it? From the clever design of a single pill to the massive scale of a clinical trial, every single step on this journey is a fusion of science and regulation, all working together to create a modern medicine. So we've followed the journey of the medicines we have today, which leaves us with one final big question. With things like AI designing new molecules and nanotechnology creating entirely new delivery systems, what will the incredible journey of tomorrow's medicine look like? Thanks for joining me.